All right, good, we're live.
We're live.
Hi everyone, I think we're waiting for folks to join. Hi everyone, as you're entering the space, please feel free to post your name, your agency, and your role, and also let us know what projects you're planning for Make a Difference Day so we can see who's all here. We'll get started in just a couple minutes also to give everyone a minute to kind of settle into the space. Wow, what a great, this is great. There's a lot of folks here. Hi everyone.
Hello, Emily from Volunteer Coordinator at the Matthews House. Welcome. Hello, Claire.
We got lots of folks who have participated in previous Make a Difference days, so this is going to be fun.
Awesome.
Hi, Gail. Olga.
Olga, we met a
Abby.
couple weeks ago.
So exciting. Habitat for Humanity. Yep. Homeward Alliance. Hi, Serena. Hi, JR. Thanks for supporting our panel. All right, everyone, it's 10:02, so I think we're gonna get started, but if you're still entering and you haven't already, please introduce yourself in the chat box. Just list your name, your agency, your role, and any ideas that you're thinking about for Make a Difference Day. I know you might be here because you might be unsure at this time, but we would love to hear your ideas, and I think other folks would like to as well. All right. Before we jump into things, I just want to go over a couple items so you know how to kind of fully participate this morning. We have muted all attendees for the presentation, but feel free to pop a question into the Q&A box on the bottom of your control panel. You can upvote questions, which means that you can bring the post that's most popular to the top of the Q&A box, which will bring our attention to it. You can do that by clicking on the little thumbs up icon next to it. In the Q&A box, you can also respond to other attendees' questions and comment in that space as well. And if you want to send us panelists a message, please do so in the chat feature by changing the message to selection all panelists. All right, so let's go ahead and move into introductions. So I'm Lauren Leary. I'm the new Community Impact Manager at United Way. I've been here for about a month, so I'm so excited to see some familiar faces here, as well as new people that I can't wait to reach out to and get to know. But my role at United Way will be managing our volunteer program, supporting our grant processes and review processes, and I'll also be our 211 community liaison, so kind of a liaison between the community and supporting individuals with finding resources that they need. And I will pass it over to Jason so he can introduce himself as well.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Jason. I'm an AmeriCorps Vista member, an acronym called Volunteers in Service to America. So it's a one-year position that I'll be serving here at United Way of Larimer County as a volunteer engagement member. Kind of meant to expand volunteer awareness and volunteer programs here on site as well as Larimer County as a whole. If we are going to allow Deirdre, our new CEO, to come talk and have a little spiel because she's also new here and she just wants to get to know everyone. So welcome, Deirdre.
Hey, thanks everybody. It's great to be here among my peers and colleagues and team members here at United Way. I know a lot of you on the call today, which is an incredible honor and privilege as I step into this new role here in Larimer County as United Way CEO. I started on August 24th, and many of you know I was the executive director at the Family Center, La Familia, before this. So really excited about bringing the lens of a former executive director doing direct service in our community, focused on early childhood education, support for our Spanish-speaking immigrant community, and other priorities. So I am just thrilled to be among all of you and really supporting your needs, both in Make a Difference Day, volunteer coordination, as well as moving forward with how do we really harness the energy of this community to support your ongoing needs. So I totally understand the challenges of managing volunteer events, as well as balancing that with the need for ongoing support. So we are here for you, and I can't say enough about the team at the United Way that I get to work with, and how we're looking into the future and what our work looks like in this really odd year where our collective need has been demonstrated more than ever before. So thanks for letting me be here.
Thanks so much, Deirdre, for coming and just speaking to the new era that we're ushering in at United Way. I'm so excited as a new staff person, and I just feel like there's a lot of great energy, and it's going to be a really great year. So thanks for kind of kicking us off. If we want to move into the agenda, can I just walk through hopefully what you'll walk away with today? So we just kind of wanted to give you all and remind you about what Make a Difference Day is. It's an annual event, so just might need a little bit of a reminder. I think some of you might be pretty familiar as I'm seeing some of these organizations and names. I think a lot of you have participated in the past. And just also we want to kind of just share a little bit about what this year's Make a Difference Day looks like. It'll be a little different, as we all can expect. Jason's going to walk us through a demo and explain to us what NocoVolunteers.org is, which is our new volunteer resource platform that we launched in March and we're super excited about. And then we'll just kind of throw out some ideas for virtual and in-person volunteer opportunities, because I think a lot of you are trying to think through what makes sense, and the more opportunities that we can kind of all think about together, the better. And then we'll just kind of go over next steps, key dates, and we can answer any of your questions. All right, so we're just going to do a quick baseline poll just to kind of gauge all of your familiarity or experience with Make a Difference Day. So if you just want to answer these questions. See a lot of answers coming in. All right. Thanks for participating in that. So it looks like quite a few of you have fully participated as a project coordinator, which is fantastic. You can help me, as this is my first Make a Difference Day experience. And there are quite a few of you also that haven't participated. So I'm glad that you're here, and hopefully you can take something away from this. And it looks like a few of you, are undecided or unsure about your participation this year. So hopefully this training will maybe give you some clarity on where you want to go from here, and give you some great ideas. All right, so for those of you who aren't familiar, or maybe those of you who are and don't really know kind of the background about Make a Difference Day, I just wanted to share a fun tidbit with you. So Make a Difference Day was actually created in 1992 by USA Weekend, which was the second largest national newspaper at the time. It's kind of cool because in 1992, it just happened to be a leap year, and the newspaper suggested to its readers that people take that extra day and use it to give back to their communities. So that's kind of how Make a Difference Day started. Later, Points of Light, which is the world's largest organization dedicated to volunteer service, joined the sponsorship, and those two entities led the initiative for 20 years. Since then, local volunteer communities have kind of taken on the banner to observe the event, and millions of people every year come out to donate their time to support organizations that are just like yours, who just have programs or projects that they need a little bit of extra support with. It's been an annual event that Larimer County, or United Way of Larimer County, has led since 2002, and it's Northern Colorado's largest week of volunteer service, which is pretty cool. Each year, Make a Difference Day falls on the 4th Saturday of October, but because there are so many participating agencies, as you can see in the attendee list, and individuals that want to contribute, Make a Difference Day is celebrated during the entire week leading up to Make a Difference Day Saturday. And this year, I think we'll be a little bit lenient and kind of consider any project really that's occurring throughout the month of October as a Make a Difference Day project, just because I know our timelines have all shifted so much due to the pandemic. Each year, United Way sees like around 1,000 individuals participating in Make a Difference Day, which is pretty incredible. Last year, we worked with 47 agencies and supported 52 projects. Organizations that a lot of you work for: CASA, Matthews House, Neighbor to Neighbor, Food Bank. We did sorting and organizing, a lot of landscape projects, and some painting projects. And then if you want, this year's Make a Difference Day, if you want to change the slide, Jason. So this is our 22nd annual Make a Difference Day. And it is going to look a little different this year, as you can all expect. This year it falls on October 24th, and the majority of participating projects will run from that week, from October 19th through the 24th. It's going to look a little different as far as trying to get creative with what types of projects a lot of you will be hosting, which is kind of what we'll be talking about today. But there are many coordinating agencies across the US that are not participating because of the pandemic. And we kind of made a decision that we wanted to keep the tradition alive, since it's such an integral part of the culture in Northern Colorado. We all know that since the pandemic began, there's been a substantial increase in requests for services, food insecurity, eviction prevention assistance, childcare support, emergency assistance requests, and behavioral health needs in particular have all increased. We know that job loss and isolation is associated with depression, anxiety, enhanced stress, and low self-esteem. And it's just such an important time to encourage social connection and social relationships with our community members. It's also just really important. Small acts of kindness are so critical during this time, not only for your clients, but for the frontline staff that you work with, who are working really tough, long hours and may already, have some sense of burnout. It's been a tough year for everyone, not only with the pandemic, but with the fire that's burning still up at Cameron Peak. And hosting this event with your participation kind of gives us a chance to highlight and shine a light on this community and celebrate all the great work that you do every single day to support people through what, for a lot is kind of one of the most challenging times of their entire life. We've also heard that a lot of agencies have experienced disruptions to their volunteer programs, since many of volunteers that you have, or your core group of volunteers, may be seniors who might not feel comfortable putting themselves at risk. We know that a lot of you are also feeling just overwhelmed and burdened with serving hundreds of individuals daily, and might not have the time or capacity to recruit and communicate with volunteers or coordinate volunteer projects. But throughout the pandemic, we have seen just an overwhelming and heartening amount of support from people in the community who want to volunteer. And participating in Make a Difference Day is a great way for us to connect those individuals with your agencies. Volunteering for them can be such a great way for individuals to cope during this time. It really helps people feel rooted to their community, and they can become more aware and more familiar with the local nonprofits and the issues that our community is facing. So it's just a really great time for for volunteerism. It's a perfect moment for us to catalyze and really let these folks step in and help build your capacity or just fill any pressing needs that you might have. As you all know, United Way is the coordinating organization for Make a Difference Day. And that just means that we'll work with you to get your jobs or your projects posted correctly on Noko volunteers, which Jason will speak to here momentarily. And we will help recruit volunteers and connect them with your projects. We work with over 100 businesses in the community to support their workplace campaigns, and volunteerism is a huge component of that. We will assign a United Way ambassador to projects, and this individual will show up on the day of the project, coordinate with the project lead at your agency, speak on behalf of United Way, on behalf of Make a Difference Day, and help support the event, and especially some of the logistical details that we'll talk about in a moment as related to COVID guidelines. Making sure that we keep a list of all the individuals that are there so we can contract trace if necessary. In the registration form that we sent out, many of you indicated that you had questions surrounding safety guidelines. We have established a document that's available on nocovolunteers.org that outlines some of the general guidelines that we've been adhering to throughout the summer since we have been accommodating volunteering, and those all closely align with those of the CDC. We'll send those out in a follow-up email, and like I said, they're also on nocovolunteers.org. But we are closely monitoring the situation because, as we all know, things tend to quickly evolve. And we'll update that document and send out communication regularly so that everyone is up to date and feels comfortable with going through with the project. As protocols will look different for each agency and project, we'll also send a link to Larimer County's Safer at Home guidelines, which provides details on what parameters need to be in place to keep people safe. So some things in particular to consider are whether virtual or in-person volunteering makes sense for you. We all know that gatherings are limited to 10 people or less. Unless your agency has submitted a safety plan to the county, then you can have a 50% occupancy at your site, and there's a max of 50 people that are allowed in that space. And workstations do need to be spaced 6 feet apart. So if you are hosting maybe a crafting project, workstations do need to be 6 feet apart and sanitized after use. And all equipment will need to be sanitized after use as well. But this is all outlined in Larimer County Safer at Home guidelines. Staggering volunteer shifts can be a way to accommodate multiple volunteer groups throughout the day if you decide to host a volunteer project that would be kind of in the form of different shifts. And we'll be tracking volunteers and volunteer contact information in Noko volunteers. But we will also ask the agencies keep a sign-in log, which our United Way ambassadors can help with so that we can enable contract tracing if we need to. We also ask the agencies and volunteers use protective equipment needed for tasks that you'll be instructing volunteers to take on. Wearing a mask always, gloves if needed, and we'll be distributing masks, United Way masks, to all volunteers who participate. So we'll have ambassadors that will bring masks to your site, or will coordinate with the project lead and get those masks to you. We'll also be frequently communicating with volunteers and asking them not to volunteer if in the last 14 days they have traveled to a foreign country, if they've been exposed to the virus, or if they've been to an event where there's more than 250 people in attendance. And I think a lot of you might have your own agency or project protocols for COVID-19 guidelines, so we can share those with volunteers as well leading up to the event. And happy to answer any questions or kind of work with you on any nuances that you're thinking about, that you might be concerned about. So I will turn it over to Jason now for his poll.
Yes, so now that we've heard a little bit about what Make a Difference is and how it's going to be different this year, we're going to kind of transition to more of like the technical side of this webinar. So Lauren, could you pull up the poll by chance?
Sure.
So these questions are concerned about our website, nocovolunteers.org, and if you've heard of it, used it, or anything like that. Okay, we have a good sort of split. Oh, a little bit. Okay, most people say they do know. I'm going to allow a couple more seconds before I close the poll. All right, so this tells me that most people are familiar with Noko volunteers, but their level of experience is kind of iffy. They haven't used it very much. Maybe you have an agency website, but you really haven't utilized it all that much, and we'll go through all of that. So that's very constructive. Okay, let me. So, oh, where'd you go? So let's not share this poll. Stop. So what is Noko Volunteers and what does it have to do with Make a Difference Day? So Noko Volunteers is a new volunteer platform that we've implemented since March. And that was because we sort of needed a more intuitive platform for our volunteer database. Our old platform, eVolunteer, was too clunky and it did not have the features that and capacity that we wanted to kind of grow our volunteer platform as a whole. So we've migrated to nocovolunteers.com, which obviously stands for Northern Colorado Volunteers. And it's an online platform, volunteer platform, and to directly connect volunteers with nonprofit agencies and their volunteer opportunities. So it's kind of meant to be as like a one-stop shop for all things volunteer in Northern Colorado. This is kind of a view of the front screen, which I will exit the PowerPoint soon to show you all what it actually looks like. And why are we using it for Make a Difference Day? So Noko Volunteers makes it really, really easy to consolidate and coordinate events around specific things. So we're using it to easily coordinate and consolidate all Make a Difference Day activities across all agencies under one banner, so volunteers can easily find it and easily sign up for any activity or opportunity that they are interested in. So I'm going to tell you so most of you all sort of are familiar with Noko Volunteers. Some of you don't have agency sites yet. So I'm just going to go around like what are the advantages of using this as opposed to not having it and just kind of going through an Excel document or something like that. So first off, it is incredibly easy to use. It was built from the ground up as a platform to support and enhance nonprofit agencies and their volunteer opportunities. It's extremely intuitive and easy to adapt for your specific needs as like a nonprofit agency. It's very easy to adapt it in ways that will make it work for you. Specifically at United Way of Larimer County, it's provided an invaluable tool kind of for tracking volunteer opportunities, volunteer hours, data, and consolidating it all in one place. And as an agency partner, you get this service, Noko Volunteers, for free, absolutely. United Way of Larimer County has purchased the rights for it, so any Northern Colorado agency partner can get this service, absolutely no charge to them. It will allow you to reach kind of a broader base. Currently on our site, we have 22,000 volunteers in the database, and with more added every day, as well as 75 agencies across Northern Colorado are already using this as their agency site on Noko Volunteers. There is unlimited support with both United Way of Larimer County and Galaxy support specifically United Way, Larimer County, since we bought the rights to this platform, we would love to help create your volunteer site the way that you want it to be and exactly the specifications that you think would be right for your organization. And as well as Galaxy support. Galaxy is the UI that has built Noko Volunteers as a platform. And Galaxy support is an extremely responsive support system that we've used almost on a weekly basis. We usually get a response from support within a day or two. They have an extensive catalog of help videos. They have opportunities to sign up for webinars hosted by Galaxy themselves if you want to get more extensive kind of questions answered. We've personally utilized this kind of as we were asking questions about how to make this webinar work and how to show them around. And so it's easy to ask questions, ask follow-up, have follow-up conversations, and it's just a really great support system. So moving forward, Noko Volunteers, I definitely would recommend watching some help videos, reaching out to Galaxy support. They're awesome. And lastly, just to reiterate, this will be the platform to host all Make a Difference Day activities, both now and moving on in the future for future Make a Difference Days. So now I'm going to exit this PowerPoint to actually show you the website and actually create your volunteer opportunity on the website. So let me see how to share it. All right, so this is our homepage. And so this is what volunteers see when they go visit nocovolunteers.org. You can see at the bottom, there's a Make a Difference spotlight, what we call, this big purple banner that just right at the home screen shows you kind of the relevant things. So in addition to having this banner, we also have another spotlight, COVID-19 responses and service to go responses, just something, it makes it easy for volunteers to find the opportunities while minimizing the amount of clicks needed to get there. You'll see in the middle here, it says click here to register your organization. We saw a couple of you that registered don't actually have your organizations on the site yet. We won't go over exactly how to register your site during this webinar, but it's a very simple process. You just go follow this link and follow the on-screen instructions. And if you need help with that at all, need help with registering at all, please reach out to Lauren and I because we would love to help. So I'm just going to go in the upper right-hand corner and sign in. So this is kind of the back end as an agency manager. This left-hand nav right here is not an editable thing that can be edited by agencies. It is a site-wide left-hand nav, and you can see that our spotlights and things also are on the left-hand side, just as well as you saw the spotlight. They will always navigate to the same exact spot though. So you can, there's multiple links for different things like spotlights, but they will always take you to the same spotlight initiative that you were talking about. So we're, but everything on the right-hand side, this is your site and anything you can track, you can edit, you can view what it would look like from a volunteer perspective. Anything on the right-hand side is yours to edit. So now we're specifically going to go to opportunities because that is how you're specifically going to create an initiative for Make a Difference Day. So we're going to just create an opportunity up in the upper right-hand corner. Let's just, all right, so let's say, for example, let's create yard signs. Oh, that's not wrong. And then in the description, you're gonna say like where it is, where to meet, what to bring, clothing, attire for the day, anything description-wise for the event of yours will go in this actual description spot. Once you're done with this description, you're going to move down to privacy. I assume most of you will do some sort of public event, but you do have the option of doing a private event right here. It won't show up to all volunteers and they will need an actual link to find and sign up for the event. Some companies like to sign up for volunteer opportunities together as a group, and they don't want other volunteers present, if that makes sense. So for example, if you're making a specific opportunity and a group within a company reaches out to you or us, and they're asking to do a volunteer project together, this would be a great tool to use, the privacy setting. It can also be changed at any time. Another important thing when making your opportunity is clicking this initiative and clicking on Make a Difference Day. So initiatives are very important. So initiatives basically are a tool used by to group community opportunities under a certain umbrella. So one umbrella we have is a COVID-19 volunteer needs. So anyone who has a volunteer opportunity that is based around kind of helping out during COVID would go under the umbrella COVID-19 volunteer needs. Since our initiative for this webinar is kind of for Make a Difference Day, everything will obviously go under Make a Difference Day initiative. By clicking on that, that will make it visible on our left-hand nav when we click on Make a Difference Day, as well as the spotlight under the opportunities. So whenever we'll click on this, if we have the initiative, it will show up there. Duration, many of you will probably have a happens on date, where you will just describe a certain date, when will the registration close, the capacity, and so on. We're gonna try to do custom shifts just in case there's multiple sort of shifts that you would like to do for your organization. For example, if you work for a food pantry and you would like a shift on Thursday and Tuesdays from 2 to 5, then this shift option would be a great option for you. So I'm just gonna add one shift here, maybe perhaps for the 14th at, let's say 1 p.m. And we're gonna say it's a 2-hour shift. Capacity, we'll say 5 people. And I'll add shift down here. And so what that does is now there's a single shift people can sign up for 2 hours during that time with 5 specific people allowed to do that. And then I can keep on adding shifts as I go because this is just one shift, I can keep adding. Team registration allows teams and groups of people to sign up together, but still kind of offers the opportunity and possibility of individuals that aren't a part of that team to join the opportunity. So it's kind of similar to privacy, except it is visible to everyone. You're just signing up together, basically. Qualifications are not needed, so you do not need to worry about that. Minimum age and maximum age usually aren't something of concern. If it is something of concern, you can feel free to add a minimum and maximum age. If it's outdoors, you definitely want to click outdoors and have an inclement weather plan. Say, bring a rain coat, something like that. Attributes are also very important because they give additional information and details that will display at the bottom of your opportunity that may have not been explicitly mentioned in your description. So for example, we can say, for an attribute for this one, this could be pet friendly. Oh, that's not spell friendly. And let's say supplies provided. So they're just little tidbits that help volunteers kind of filter down volunteer opportunities that may be of interest to them. If it's a virtual opportunity, you're going to click yes, and then therefore you don't actually have to have an address listed, just a zip code. We'll say our address, but if it is a physical address, you're going to say virtual opportunities, no. And this is kind of our address at United Way of Larimer County, as well as the zip code. Impact area is United Way of Larimer County has 4 main focuses as a nonprofit organization. So these are our 4 kind of pillars that are a part of United Way of Larimer County. So please, if you can, just click the one that's most applicable to your volunteer opportunity at that certain moment. It most likely will be community engagement, but it could be others. And interests and abilities are another option to kind of help volunteers filter down their search of what specifically they would like to do for Make a Difference Day. So for example, I might want to do something based on hunger or legal help or anything like that. Those would go down there, and that would help volunteers filter down their search. Cluster isn't really relevant unless you were thinking of doing bilingual work. So for example, translation help, this would be a good idea to put your cluster as bilingual. If you have a waiver, you can choose to file it right there, and electronically, Noko volunteers will allow them to sign on the actual website, so you don't need them to print it out. You don't need them to like send it to you, scan it, or anything like that. Once you're done with everything, it's going to be create an opportunity, and as long as this initiative says Make a Difference Day, it'll go under that umbrella. So let's just say we created that opportunity, and now we can go to our left-hand nav and find Make a Difference Day 2020. So this is what we call an initiative, and it is kind of a description of what the initiative is, what the kind of umbrella we're trying to bring all these opportunities together are. And down at the bottom, you have actual opportunities listed at the bottom. You can see these specific locks. That means it's a private event that United Way of Larimer County has made, and other volunteers can't see it. So when I was talking about privacy settings, it would go down over here. So volunteers can't see this, but these are ones that are public right at the moment. So we're gonna just look at Vegetable Connection, their volunteer opportunity as an example. Under their volunteer opportunity, you can see their description is very in-depth, has a full list of what they can do, what they need help with, and as well as some links to go and help, as well as custom shifts. So this is actually a custom shift, but it's only just one custom shift. You are allowed as many shifts as needed to help make this opportunity work for you. Additional details is what I was talking about, those attributes, those little tidbits of additional information and details that will display at the bottom of the opportunity. So the Vegetable Connections attributes are, there it's not outdoors, it's a virtual event, training not provided, etc. So that is basically how you create an opportunity for Make a Difference Day. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. I would love to answer them to make it more clear. If not, I will move back to the PowerPoint. Oh. And so now we're going to transition into more of kind of a brainstorming session. And this would really work best if we could all participate and kind of ask questions, make it in a way that would be constructive to everyone. So I don't want to make it as sort of I'm going to list out volunteer opportunities to kind of get your heads turning. Obviously, this is kind of what is meant to help facilitate some like gears turning in your head, but we want to make this kind of a discussion that can help for everyone. So I'm actually going to show a video just to get us started kind of brainstorming volunteer opportunities.
Volunteer and remain active in their communities. Here are some ideas to consider as you become a virtual volunteer. Build morale and support others by putting hearts in your windows for your neighbors and children to see. Perform acts of kindness and show appreciation for first responders, healthcare workers, and all those providing essential goods and services. Have food from a local restaurant delivered to healthcare workers, for example, or mow the lawn of someone who has to work longer or later shifts at the grocery store. write cards, and create artwork for nursing home residents who are no longer able to have visitors. Sew homemade masks to donate. Just be sure to confirm what agencies have a need and follow specific guidelines they recommend. Have a hobby or enjoy a craft? Create an instructional video for initiatives like the Boys and Girls Club's virtual club experience. For more ideas on how you can stay involved, visit community.
All right. Okay, so we kind of split up kind of these volunteer brainstorming sessions into kind of in-person volunteer opportunities and virtual. So this first half is kind of just virtual opportunities that maybe if you just weren't comfortable doing something in person, these would be great opportunities to maybe get your brain thinking about, hey, maybe we can do some volunteer opportunities over Zoom or anything like that. For example, you could do a virtual talent show. Like you could ask volunteers to submit videos of themselves expressing their talent, and then you could compile that video and send it to nursing facilities or elderly care facilities that haven't visited or seen anyone in months. And it would just kind of bring joy to some people that have not seen the outside world for a very long time. And that same goes to care calls. Like you could set up a system to call people that are kind of homebound right now and they're unable to get groceries or anything like that. So we are doing a drive-through for our volunteers who haven't helped, and we will give them lunch. Oh, I love that. Yes, some drive-through opportunities would be a great way to kind of bring people together, but also in a safe environment. We also have reading a book to children in childcare facilities. Children, especially now, do not have a lot of, let's say, like they don't have a lot of outside exploratory time with other kids right now. And so any sort of engagement with children is especially important right now. As well, we want this to be an event that works for you. So you don't have to do some of these fun kind of like project activities. You can make it a way to help your organization. That could be through data entry or archive and website help. If you need a part of your website to be translated into Spanish, you could ask for translation help as a volunteer opportunity. Or if you just needed like a new social media logo thing, you could have some sort of fun volunteer competition to get people kind of involved, all changing and making their own logos and have everyone vote on it. It'd be kind of a fun way to bring everyone together, but then also getting a concrete new logo out of it, which would be really cool. Oh, setting up a flash mob outside a nursing home. Oh my gosh, I would love that. That'd be so fun. And nursing homes don't see a lot of people anymore. Like they aren't really allowed to leave a lot of the time. And so any type of joy, I think, should be emphasized and should be highlighted for sure.
I think too, Jason, with administrative tasks, there are so many things that we all do. You know, our task lists are so full, especially more than ever. The holidays are coming up. Colorado Gives Day is just around the corner. Thinking about our campaign season, you know, like batch creating social media posts for Facebook. Somebody could do that, you know, over the course of a day, or organizing a closet, or just there's so many kind of little things that we all need to do and that are on our eventual list of things to do that we could pull in volunteers. So definitely they can be a great help.
Especially during COVID, we've heard from a lot of nonprofits that they're getting swamped with like administrative tasks that they just don't have the capacity to do right now. And so this would be a great opportunity to just ask like, hey, we've got so much data entry like needed that have not been going on for the past couple months. You could definitely get volunteers to help out in that sense.
There's a few more ideas that popped in the chat. Deirdre says, after hours, weekend, break room, refreshes, makeovers for childcare centers, nonprofits. I mean, even going into a childcare facility and like deep sanitizing all the toys, which is something that you all probably have to do and would just be nice if somebody else did it for a day. Sarah says care package drop-offs, which is, yeah, excellent and just such a nice way to say, I see you and I appreciate you. Jamie says the Corgi Parade is a great example. What about setting one up outside or around one of these facilities or in a neighborhood? Yeah, deep cleaning opportunities. Annette says many of our CASA volunteers are doing virtual visits with their court-appointed children. Some great ideas like dropping off the same cookbook and ingredients so they can virtually cook together. I love that. That's really cool. Tree planting or gardening. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, but I've also just gotten word that I might be a little quiet. So let me all know. Just feel free to interject and be like, you're really not very loud. That'll be great. I love all of these volunteer opportunities. I think they're really great and really constructive at the same time. If anyone wants us to kind of compile these all together in one long list and send it to you, we definitely can help in any of that sense. This next area we kind of dedicated to like in-person volunteer opportunities, just something to keep, oh, Jason, use your voice. Really loud. So this is obviously meant to be in person. We just want to make sure that because they're in person, you are following COVID guidelines. So in any way possible, if that's, do what you got to do. So I think an easy one would be a local trash and litter pickup and yard cleanups for sure. A lot of community service type things like that have been pushed to the wayside a little bit. And so a lot of trash is kind of like piling up in ways that in areas that we don't want. You can create and distribute inspirational yard signs. So our yard signs are pretty inexpensive. And they're allowed easy access to kind of just like spread inspiration and spread joy throughout the community. Decorate and paint agencies' windows, preferably with something that would wash off eventually. But like just, I think the emphasis of creating joy and inspiration around this community during this tough time is very, very important. So in any way that could help with that, I think everyone would be on board. Definitely cleaning and organizing items and donations. Obviously, as I said, a lot of nonprofits are being backed up to this. And so that would be an easy way to get volunteers involved in something and kind of get a greater sense of community while they're at it.
Emily also asks for us to compile a list, and we will absolutely do that, and we will send that out. That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. As Sarah said, we kind of said like the agency kind of kit creation. Here at United Way of Larimer County, we have kind of this extensive service to go program, kind of creating, volunteers are creating kits like feminine hygiene kits and diaper kits and food packages, like non-perishable food kits to distribute to other nonprofits. And it's a great way for volunteers that want to help out with the community, but they're not sure what to do or what to create. We've had great success with it. And obviously a lot of us have mentioned donation drives. I think a lot of people need donations at the moment. You just have to coordinate what specifically is the need in the environment and go off that. And deliveries and transportation. One of our activities that we have on Make the Difference's site right now is kind of transporting our service to go kits around to nonprofits, because we have so much service to go projects right now that we actually need help with deliveries. And so this would actually help expand capacity for getting these kits out into the area, as well as like a fun little sidewalk chalk competition. I think someone also mentioned that in the chat, but you can make it so volunteers have a themed sidewalk chalk competition where they would draw something on the chalk sidewalk and then take a picture of it and themselves and send it in, and everyone can go like it, or you can have a competition to be who gets the most likes gets this sort of promotion on their website or anything like that. Would kind of be a great opportunity to get volunteers involved. And so this is not nearly an exhaustive list of things you can do. We just wanted to kind of list all these things, kind of spark something in your brain, spark a conversation with everyone, to think through what would work with their nonprofits and what would work kind of a volunteer opportunity in this day and age.
Thanks, Jason. There's a lot of great ideas in the chat box. Just wanted to kind of touch on a few, but yeah, I think a lot of you have done yard cleanups in the past, so that's a pretty popular volunteer activity, easy for groups. And I'm wondering if a lot of you are concerned about safety guidelines. I think, being outside during COVID and wearing a mask, making sure you sanitize equipment, I think all of that's okay, as long as you're not going inside. But feel free to reach out to us if you have specific questions about your project and how they fit into guidelines. Also, Christina said calling donors, which is something that takes a lot of time for those of you in development roles to just reach out, especially, and re-engage volunteers, re-engage donors in the work you're doing. That's a great example of something that people could do safely from home. And I'll just follow up kind of with some next steps that we can, or that you all can expect. We will be sending out a follow-up email tomorrow, I believe, tomorrow or Friday, to all of you with a link to the recording of this training, a social media toolkit, which our marketing team has put together with some really cool Make a Difference Day graphics that you can use for social media to promote your participation in Make a Difference Day. We'll send out the link that I was talking about for our general COVID guidelines, as well as to Larimer County's specific Safer at Home guidelines, so you can kind of walk through those and think about what is appropriate for your agency. We'll also include a survey to just kind of get your feedback on this presentation, and also to see what type of further training we might need to organize. We're happy to set up kind of one-on-one trainings with some of you who might not even have an agency and need to just sit for a moment, absorb all of this, and then maybe walk through registering your agency, creating an opportunity. We didn't touch on tracking volunteer hours, but you can track your volunteer hours. And there's actually an option to have volunteers check in through a kiosk, which you could set up using an iPad. So there's a lot of great features to Noko volunteers that we didn't go over. And we are happy, Jason and I are happy to set up a one-on-one or maybe do future trainings. So just let us know what you all need and we can meet those needs for you. Oh, and we'll also include a link to Noko volunteers so you can start posting your opportunities. And then the important date to remember is to submit your projects by October 2nd. Make sure that your agency information is all up to date. Your logo looks good. You can include photos in there. You can make it look really spiffy. Make sure your description is complete and as detailed as possible so that your project kind of tells the story that you want it to and it doesn't get overlooked, because there will be a lot of agencies in there, a lot of projects in there. And feel free to browse other agency projects. You can look through all the other agencies to see what other folks are doing, to see how they created their descriptions, what kind of photos they posted, just to get ideas to attract the volunteers that you really need for your projects. We'll also be reaching out to agencies to determine who the best kind of project coordinator is and ensure that we have the correct contact information. We'll work with you on a case-by-case basis to address any nuances that you might have or concerns related to COVID or anything in particular. And we will also like I said, we have a really robust marketing team of 2 on our team, and they will be working hard over the next month to promote. They're going to be setting up a social media campaign to promote volunteerism and Make a Difference Day. I think we're going to have some public service announcements, and they'll be featuring all of your agencies and projects frequently on our social media to attract volunteers and ensure that we can fill as many positions as we can. Our newsletter will also be sending out newsletters, updates, and emails, and those go out to 24,000 people. So like Jason said, you're able to reach a broader volunteer base if you are able to register your project under Make a Difference Day, so that we can support you getting the volunteers you need. Also our resource development team is kind of thick in the workplace campaign season at the moment, and I mentioned that we work with hundreds of local businesses, both small and big, who are looking to pair employee volunteer groups with projects. And they will be looking in Noko volunteers for those projects to sign up for. And I think, and also another day, we'll be communicating throughout the next month with you about what to expect. You'll be receiving emails from us. There is a communication mechanism within Noko volunteers that lets us send notifications, reminding volunteers the week before, the day of, and then like a follow-up thank you. So we'll be putting together a plan for communication, so you don't have to think about that. That's something that we will do for you. And we are hoping that all the projects will be in by October 2nd, so that volunteers can register by the 19th. We do know that things are just a little hectic with planning this year, both on our end, on all of your ends. It's just a crazy time. So we'll be a little lenient with these dates and just communicate with us. Let us know that you do have a project to get in, so we can make sure that we fill those positions. And yeah, Make a Difference Day is running the October 19th to the 24th, which is coming up quick. So we're super excited to get creative this year and think through what, some really interesting projects. I think it'll be a test of our creativity. And we can just move on to Q&A. I don't know if there's any questions in the chat that I've missed since I've been talking, but if you have a question, you can also put it in the question box, or you can raise your hand or just put it in the chat box, and we can take a moment to address those also. I don't see any questions, but also, go ahead, Jason.
No, I don't see any questions either. I was looking.
I'm sure you all will have questions once you actually dive into the platform. Take a minute to familiarize yourself and kind of think through what you'll all be doing. So just feel free to reach out. And then I just want to thank you all so much for participating today, for your time, for doing all that you do to make our community a better place. It's like I mentioned, it's such a tough time right now, and you are all making the day of somebody who's struggling just that much brighter every single day. And I'm just so honored to be in this space with all of you, to be able to connect with all of you. And again, we're here to help you navigate guidelines and brainstorm creative ideas that make sense for you. I also wanted to give a shout out to our partner Comcast, who sponsors these Nonprofit Excellence Series events, which enables us to connect with all of you and build momentum for building your capacity to do the work that you do in our community. They have a really great Internet Essentials program that helps families gain affordable access to internet. And I think we'll be including some of that information in our follow-up email as well, so you can share with any clients that might be eligible to qualify, it's just a really cool program. So we'll share more with you. And I don't see any questions, so I think that we will wrap this up. Jason, did you want to say anything, or?
I have nothing to add. That was really fun to show you all kind of what we had sort of in mind for Make a Difference Day. Obviously, it's a very strange time, and so we're all kind of learning together. So we're all going to navigate kind of this obstacle together, and we're going to find creative solutions to do it. I believe Lauren and I will probably stay on the line for a couple of minutes if anyone would love to kind of wait back, and then we can ask and answer their questions. But otherwise, thank you so much for coming, and have a good rest of your day.
And thanks, Deirdre, too, for joining us for an introduction. I know your schedule is busy. So
Oh, this is
that's
important
great.
work. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We'll
Have a
stay
great
on
week.
a little longer.